Hello, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. Welcome, Blue Jackets fans and hockey fans alike. I am your captain speaking. Welcome to the podcast, and let's dive into some hockey content. Hello, my Brigadiers and Brigadettes. How are you this week? I'm hoping you're doing well. So, I forgot to mention in this last episode, the first time we were doing YouTube, this is Stinger, we all know well. Stinger the mascot. Yes, he's a compact lawn version. And then this, right here, is, we're going to say Lucky the totem pole. Obviously, it's got different parts and pieces, but I think Lucky the totem pole, it's going to bring us some luck, some Stanley Cups. Anyway, let's jump into... Oh, actually, I took off my glasses because of the glare, so just wanted to let you know about that too. But anyway, let's talk about the topics we're going to cover today. Max Domi has said something. He has been quoted, and it has been talked about. And usually when you hear an athlete say something and they say, oh, this is controversial, you think, what did they say wrong to make people upset? But we'll talk about that for a little bit. Then we're going to talk about some, I guess, surprise or unexpected 2021 free agents, and then some other league news. So with that being said, why don't we jump into that juicy hockey content? So, Max Domi has said that he's looking forward to bouncing back with the Blue Jackets. Last year with the Montreal Canadiens, you could say he had a bad year. But anyway, based on the quote that I read, Domi said he's essentially chomping at the bit to get down to nationwide arena and tear it up. You know, he talked about, in this article that I read, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, the all-time greats, they have some down years, and, you know, they looked forward to dealing with these challenges and being able to get back. But he also said he's trying to get a Stanley Cup with this team. And I know what you're thinking. Of course, every athlete is going to say that. They're going to say, I can't wait to win a championship with this team. And it gets to be watered down after time. But I think it's a big deal that a free agent, not a free agent, but somebody that was an RFA that came over here has that mindset. Because I feel like a lot of players could come to Columbus and say, well, you know, it's Columbus, so who knows, I'll be here for a few years. It is what it is. But it seems like he's pretty excited to be a Columbus Blue Jacket. And I'm really happy about that. I think he'll have a good bounce back season, but let's take a look at his stats throughout his career. So his rookie season, he was drafted, I think, 11th or 12th by Arizona. So his 2015-16 stats with Arizona, 81 games played, 18 goals, 34 assists, 52 points. His 2016-17 season, again with Arizona, took a little bit of a dive with the scoring. He had 59 games played, 9 goals, 29 assists, 38 points. And then this is kind of where I think Arizona turned on him a little bit here. 2017-18, 82 games played, 9 goals, 36 assists, 45 points. Again, he had more points than the previous season, but it just seemed like they turned on him a little bit because his scoring disappeared. And so because he wasn't churning out, you know, the 18 goals like he did his rookie year, they seemed to think that it was a done deal, which is a little ridiculous because, you know, rookies are rookies, and I know he wasn't a rookie in year 2 or 3 and he's got some time under his belt, but young guys take time to develop, and, you know, they can turn it around, and so I think patience is key here, but they didn't think that. At the time, they traded Max Domi it was a one-on-one deal, or one-for-one deal with the Montreal Canadiens for Alex Galchenyuk, and I think at the time everybody thought, including myself, I'll be honest here, I said, wow, I think that the Montreal Canadiens really did win, or not Montreal Canadiens, the Arizona Coyotes really won this trade because Galchenyuk was a pretty good scorer at this time, and he was somebody that was supposed to be able to provide some offense for Arizona because really for years, years on years, the Arizona Coyotes have had trouble scoring, and I thought that the Galchenyuk trade worked out pretty well for the Coyotes. I thought that I had high hopes for Domi. One, because my friend's a Canadiens fan, and, you know, we talk about the Canadiens a lot. And I did feel like, personally, from the games I had watched from Domi, that Domi wasn't a complete wash like everybody made him out to be. I mean, he was still getting 45 points on a season. You know, he was playing a full season. He wasn't missing games. And he was still getting close to 50 points per season. It was just that the scoring wasn't there. So, yeah, I know that everybody at the time said, oh, the Coyotes fleeced the Canadiens, which I didn't think it was that crazy. I thought it was a good trade for the Coyotes. But looking back on it now, the Canadians won that trade because Galchenyuk really struggled in Arizona. He also struggled in Pittsburgh. When he was traded over to Pittsburgh, I thought, okay, this is really going to be a time where he's going to click. And he ended up struggling big time in Pittsburgh. I figured with, Rust and, Crosby and Malkin and all these guys, I thought this will be where Galchenyuk gets that scoring touch again from, the past where he played with Canadians for so many years, like 5 or something like that, where he was a pretty good player. So now he's in Minnesota, which I think that he'll end up, maybe bounce. No, he's not in Minnesota, excuse me. Minnesota traded to get Galchenyuk to get more scoring, to try to beef up that team in Minnesota to try to get a little bit more offensive punch. But he actually just signed a 1-year deal with Ottawa, yes. I like that signing a lot. I think he could provide 20 goals. I don't know if he'll ever score 30 goals again, we'll see, but he'll get an opportunity there. But again, it was one of those things where everybody said, oh, Max Domi this, Max Domi that. I never understood why everybody thought this was just a horrible, horrible trade and that he was the worst player ever. How many people would say that they'd want a 50-point scorer on their team when that's his down year? But yeah, we'll move into his stats with Montreal once he got traded there. Obviously, we just talked about the Galchenyuk trade. 2018-19, this is his best season ever. And this was his first season in Montreal. 82 games played, 28 goals, 44 assists, 72 points. That is the first and only time that he's ever scored over 60 points, I do believe. But the thing is, I think that could be norm. I do think that, within a certain window of his career, Max Domi should be getting 60 to 70 points per year. Very good season for him. I know the Canadians struggled. The Canadians are kind of a team that's in limbo in between. You're not sure if they're a rebuild, but they're not a contender. I know that for sure. I love Carey Price, but they're a fringe playoff team at best, and at worst, they're, a team that's stuck just below to where they can't get or just above where they can't get a great draft spot. And then this past season, everybody, the sky was falling down. 2019-20 with Montreal. What's wrong with Max Domi? 71 games played, 17 goals, 27 assists, 44 points. The thing is here, Max Domi didn't miss a game. Max Domi, I'm pretty sure, has played every single game that he was able to out of 3 seasons. I'm pretty sure he's done it at least 3 times. Now, granted, they had the season canceled, so he missed 11 games of what would have been that. But he still would have been on pace for, 19 goals, I think, like 33 assists, whatever it was. He would have cracked about 50 points. So, a down year for Max Domi's 50 points. Cry me a river. I don't understand why everybody's so upset. At worst, you're going to get a 50-point scorer at this point in his career, I do believe. And at best, 75 points, maybe 80 if you're getting wild. Blue Jackets fans, we seem to love the fact that Domi is there. So, who knows? I'm a little confused by everybody seems to think that Domi having a 50-point season is the end of the world. There's a lot of other places that or a lot of other players you could have that get you in that situation. But it's whatever. He was traded to Columbus with a 3rd-round pick. That ended up becoming the defenseman. I don't know how to say his name. I've heard it 2 different ways. Samuel Nazco, and then I've also heard Samuel Knazko. Anyway, we got a 3rd-round pick and Max Domi in exchange for Josh Anderson. That was a wild, wild trade. I didn't expect that at all, if I'm being honest. I thought when the news broke, it said Josh Anderson was sent to Montreal, and I thought it said that we sent a 3rd as well, which is what it actually said originally in exchange for Max Domi. But when they said that we got the 3rd-round pick, I still don't understand that move now. And then they gave Josh Anderson that huge contract. I love Josh Anderson. I loved him when he played with the Jackets. I don't understand. I think they're thinking that he's going to score 30 goals and put up 60 points and play that big physical style. They've got big players on the roster. They've got multiple big guys. So I don't understand. Everybody says, they need to play big. I thought Tatar and, Domi played well together. It is what it is. But who knows? We'll see how it works for Montreal. I think for now, I'd say we won the trade. I can't see it backfiring that big. But overall, I'd say I'm pretty excited. I think Domi will get 55 to 70 points this season. And I think the offense will be able to be more effective this year. Pierre-Luc Dubois, once he signs his RFA deal, gets, pushed under the rug. Texier, Domi, Bjorkstrand, Foodie. I think they're all going to provide some offense this year. Pierre-Luc Dubois, I'm pretty hype on. I think that he's going to get 60 to 70 points this year as well. Texier, I don't know. He's dealt with a lot of injuries, but, I do have high hopes for him. Cam, I think Cam will definitely get at least 20 goals. Bjorkstrand, another 20-goal season. That'd be great. Foodie, he is young, but I do have high hopes for him. But all in all, I really do like the fact that Domi has got that mindset where he's excited. He is ready for the challenge of playing with the Blue Jackets, and he's just, he's ready to prove himself. And not only that he's looking to win a Stanley Cup. So I'm looking forward to the season starting. I'm looking forward to be able to see Domi in a Blue Jackets jersey. I think that we have had some pretty decent players that have been brought in through the trades in the past few years. Jarmo Kekalainen has brought in Saad, Panarin, Duchesne, Zingle, many other names, obviously Domi. So I think it's something that we get a player that's a very intriguing player, and I think he gives us some, not only, people say depth at center. I'd like to see him play wing, but we'll see. But just some more offensive firepower. So we're a team that just struggles to score. But with that being said, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is underrated/surprising 2021 unrestricted free agents. So the next thing that I want to talk about now is the 2021 UFAs that are a little bit surprising. And we're just going to go in alphabetical order of names. I picked 5 people that maybe you didn't expect to be UFAs. So number 1, Frederik Andersen. From the Toronto Maple Leafs, goalie. He has spent 4 seasons with the Maple Leafs. They have had 3 playoff appearances, 4 if you count the qualifying round. I don't. His career stats with Toronto, and I don't know if this is perfect, but I typed it up. Who knows, but as far as I know, this is right. 136 wins, 66 losses, and then 33 overtime losses. 2.77 goals above average, .916 save percentage, with 13 shutouts. His playoff stats are 10 and 14, 2.78 goals above average, and a .916 save percentage with 1 shutout. Besides the 2017-18 playoffs, I don't think that you can say that Anderson's the problem for the Maple Leafs in the playoffs. I hear every year from Maple Leafs fans, not all of them, but some of them, Anderson lost us a series, Anderson this, Anderson that. You know what I know? Here's a fun fact for you. In the past 4 seasons, the Maple Leafs in games that they've been eliminated, they've averaged 1.5 goals. I don't know, maybe it's the offense that could be costing you these games. Who knows? Maybe that's what it is. Now, granted, the 2017-18 season playoffs against the Bruins, Anderson did not have a great game or series, I'll give you that. But overall, the 2 other playoff appearances plus a qualifying round against the Blue Jackets, I thought he played very well, but overall he's played well. My take is that, Anderson is a tough goalie to get a read on. On one hand, he puts up these stats that you would say are about average, and you would say, oh, he's an average goalie, especially when it comes to goals above average. But on the other hand, he's a workhorse. He will give you 60 games played a season, and he'll put up average stats, you could say around league average, with a bad blue line. So would he be an above average goalie if the blue line was better and he got a lighter workload? I think yes. I think that Toronto has been doing him some injustices the past few years. They haven't had great backup goalies. They had Reimer, I think, over the course of a little bit. Reimer's been pretty good over the course of his career, especially as a backup. And here's my thing. Will he re-sign with Toronto? I'm not sure, but if he'll re-sign with the Maple Leafs, to me, it'll be if they win a playoff round. And he'll be a playoff hero, and everybody will say, oh, we love Frederik Andersen. Freddie Anderson's the man. And Maple Leafs fans will call him a hero, but if they don't make the playoffs or they lose in the first round, they'll chase him out of town. Even if he plays well, they'll chase him out of town, get him out of there. We don't want you, we hate you, blah, blah, blah. That's what Maple Leafs fans do. Obviously not all of them, but some of them. And the problem is if they are a minority, they're a vocal minority. So who knows? I do think that either way, he should leave. Toronto's a toxic atmosphere, and I just think he needs a fresh start. I think he needs to go somewhere else. I think that the Maple Leafs themselves need to look in the mirror and look at this team and really redefine what they are again, because I just don't really believe the Maple Leafs are going to be a contender anymore. That ship sailed probably 2 years ago for me. But That's my Freddie Anderson talk. Jordan Binnington, now we'll talk about him. From St. Louis, he has spent 3 seasons with the Blues. Really 2, though, because he only played like 1 game. Just filled in. He blocked like 4 shots or whatever in that 1 season before. So really 2 seasons. They've had 2 playoff appearances with him. His career stats with St. Louis are 54 wins, 18 losses in regulation, and then 8 overtime losses, 231 goals above average, 917 save percentage, 8 shutouts. His playoff stats are 16-5 win-loss, 2.79 goals above average, 904 save percentage, and 1 shutout. Now here's my take. We really haven't seen enough of Jordan Binnington to know what we're going to be dealing with. This year we will probably see what we get out of him. I think the Blues will figure out if he is the right guy for the Blues to be their goalie, their number 1 goalie, their starting goalie. But it's just one of those things. We saw him really hot when they said play Gloria, and this team got that turnaround and they won the cup. And then we've seen moments where he's been average. We've seen moments where he's been below average. Do I think that he'll re-sign in St. Louis? I think he will. Even if he's average, I think he will. St. Louis loves their core to death. They, I think, really do believe that they're going to be cup contenders for years still. And they're going to overpay him because really they can't replace him. Trading Jake Allen forced their hand in this whole Binnington dilemma because I don't know who their backup goalie is now. I'm guessing that he's not very good. But even if Binnington's average, they're going to pay him more than he's worth because they're in love with this core and they're going to say maybe average goaltending, let's say if he's average, is going to be able to get us to another cup because they love Riley, Tarasenko, all the guys. I'm not very high. I think that they were a team of destiny, I guess. They got on that hot run. I don't really believe in Binnington, but that is what it is. Now we're going to talk about the next goalie. This is a lot of goalie talk, okay? If you've never watched this before, I am obsessed with goalies. Goalie is the best position in the league. Sorry, I think I got a hair here. I think I got rid of it. Philip Grubauer from Colorado. He spent 2 seasons with the Avalanche. They've had 2 playoff appearances. Here's his career stats with Colorado. 36 wins, 21 regulation losses, 9 overtime losses, 2.63 goals above average, 916 save percentage, and 5 shutouts. His playoff stats, 12-6, 12 wins, 6 losses, 2.15 goals above average, 924 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. My take, I like Grubauer, but what is Colorado's goaltending situation going to be like? Who will they keep using this 1A, 1B combination of Grubauer, and I believe it's Francois is how you say his name. Definitely doesn't look like that with how it's spelled, but pretty sure it's Francois. But personally, I think that they should see how both goalies play this year, and they both have good seasons. Sign them 2-3-year deals, so that way you're able to keep this cup window open, but you don't, sacrifice the future long-term in case they do underperform. And that buys them some time, because really, you have to understand, windows are a lot shorter than what you think they're going to be in reality in sports. Colorado is going to be a good team for the next 5 years, but are they going to be a contender in 5 years? I don't know that. So don't handcuff your future by giving out these 5-year deals plus. It's kind of like the Blackhawks. They have that Kane contract, and he's still playing well, but he's got a no movement clause, and they're paying him a lot of money, and they're not getting to the playoffs. So don't handcuff yourself to where you can't be able to trade guys that you might need to be able to trade or get rid of. Will he re-sign with Colorado? I believe he will for 2 reasons. 1, Colorado knows this is their championship window, and with the market being a little more dry because of COVID, their competition to re-sign him might be less than what it was before. 2, Grubauer probably really loves being on a good team and wants to contend for a cup, and winning a cup would allow him for the market for his talent to grow, and he could get a full-time starting job if he wanted to leave. I think that he's going to sign on a short-term deal, and I think that he's going to try to be able to win a cup with Colorado, and if they say we're going to stick with this, keep this 1A, 1B goalie combo going, I think he's going to leave, get a big contract, and probably underperform because Colorado is a very talented team compared to what he performed with Colorado. So I think it really just depends on who he's going to play with. But I do think he's probably going to stay, at least for the short time being. Tuukka Rask. Season spent with the Bruins, 13, basically 11 though. Playoff appearances 9. Career stats with the Bruins: 291 wins, 158 losses in regulation, 64 losses in overtime, 2.26 goals above average, 922 save percentage, 50 shutouts. His playoff stats are 51 wins, 42 losses, 2.2 goals against average, 926 save percentage, and 7 shutouts. My take: Tuukka Rask is an amazing goalie, and he's honestly one of the best goalies of this decade and since I've been a kid. And I think he's underrated because he spent so many years being the backup to Tim Thomas on the Bruins. Boston fans, it's kind of split. They have different sides on how they view Rask, and I'm just confused by the people that constantly hate on Tuukka. Tuukka is a top 10 goalie on good years. He's a top 5 goalie, maybe even top 3. This past season, he was a top 2 goalie, in my opinion. And I know that they're a very good team, but I think Tuukka is a big part of that. For the people that get mad and say, oh, Tuukka left the bubble to deal with his family, I'm sorry, but if you don't have a wife or kids or anything like that, you'll never understand what it's like. Do you want to hang out in the bubble and worry about your daughter being in the hospital, or do you want to be there for your family? So the people like that, think however you want. I'm not going to argue with you, because I don't think I could argue with you, because I'm not going to win, because you're just going to keep thinking the same way. At the end of the day, family comes first. Do I think he'll re-sign with Boston? Yes. If Tuukka Rask ever puts on anything other than a Bruins sweater, then, anything else than the spoke to be, Bruins ownership has failed the city of Boston and Bruins fans everywhere, around the world. He should never play for any other team besides the Bruins. I will say I could not see him signing for anything more than maybe a 2-year deal. I don't think he's playing after, maybe even this year, but possibly the year after. I could see him doing that. But that is the farthest I see him going. Tuukka should never leave the Bruins. That's just that. That's my take on it. And then the final one of this category, Thomas Tatar. And he has played for the Montreal Canadiens. Seasons with Canadiens, I didn't put that, but I'm pretty sure it's been 2, possibly 2.5. Don't know why that's not on there. Playoff appearances 1. Career stats with Montreal, yes, it has been 2 seasons. 47 goals, 73 assists, 119 points, 0.8 points per game. His playoff stats: 2 goals, 0 assists, 2 points, 0.2 points per game. Now, obviously, that's including the qualifying round. I didn't want to include that, but sometimes you have to. It is what it is. My take: Tatar is a extremely underrated player, and I thought he's going to fit in very, very well with the Vegas Golden Knights, and be there for a long time. He didn't last long at all, and was sent to Montreal with Nick Suzuki for Max Pacioretty. And Tatar is a guy that I think will give you 20 plus goals per year, and I think he's a good 50 to 60 point scorer at this point per season. Will he re-sign with Montreal? I'm not even sure if Tatar will be on the team at the end of this upcoming season. If the team is bad, he's gone. I could see them flipping him for a young player or a pick, maybe both. If he performs well, the team performs poorly, then who knows. But if he performs well and the team performs well, then yeah, I could see them absolutely trying to re-sign him. Regardless, I want Tatar to have a good season. I want him to re-sign with Montreal. I think he fits in well there with Montreal. He is one of those guys that's never been able to find a stable home. He was there for Detroit. He would have been there. I think he would have been a career Red Wing if it wouldn't have been for the Red Wings having to go through a rebuild. But here we are. Then he got flipped to Vegas, then to Montreal. I don't want him to be one of those guys that's a secondary piece to your core that constantly has to find a new home and is on these short deals where he's on a new team every few years. I want him to be able to go to a team and stay there. So I want it to be Montreal, but if he has to leave, I want him to go one more place and that's it, and be able to stay there forever. So with that being said, these are my top 5 surprising, underrated free agents. Now we're going to move on to some other league news. Some other league news: Tyler Bertuzzi and the Detroit Red Wings had failed to reach an agreement prior to their arbitration meeting. And, the arbitration case was pretty smooth. Bertuzzi was asking for a 1-year, $4.25 million deal, while the Red Wings countered with a 1-year, $3.15 million deal. Eventually, the arbitrator decided on a $3.5 million deal, which you could say was fair because it was towards the middle, kind of. Bertuzzi is 25 years old, And here's my take. He was drafted in the second round of the 2013 NHL draft. In the past 2 years, I really do feel like he's proved that he was worth that selection. Back-to-back 20-goal seasons. He was on pace for 55 points a season, and he didn't miss a game this whole year. He was first on the Red Wings for goals, second on the team for assists, and second on the team for points. I think he's probably a consistent 25-plus goal scorer in his prime, and I think he's going to be able to provide 50 to 60 points per season. Why a team with $18.7 million in cap space was being so stingy with one of their best players, I'm not sure. Personally, I think they should have forked over the money. It is a sign of good faith. I think that Yzerman is obviously a good GM, and I like the moves he's made this offseason, but this could get awkward come next season. He's an RFA again, and the reason I think it's going to get awkward is Bertuzzi said that he was looking for a long-term deal and they didn't get it. And he was fine with it this year, but guess what? He said that next year he's really looking for it. So if Yzerman and them do this after he has another 20-plus goal season and let's say a 50-plus point season, I don't think that's good for either side. Now, I don't expect Bertuzzi to be a star, but I think he'd be a really good secondary player and one of the guys that could be part of your core to compete for a championship when the Red Wings finally turn it around. I guess it all ended up working out because Bertuzzi wasn't upset, but the thing is, there wasn't a lot of money, they've got a lot of cap space. I don't see what the big deal was, especially since it was 1 year. Make him happy, don't make him mad. It is what it is. I guess that all is well that ends well. We'll see how it plays out next year. Now moving on to the Buffalo Sabres, they avoid arbitration with Sam Reinhart and extend him on a 1 year, $5.2 million deal. Personally, I think they should have got him in a longer deal, especially since he had a down year. I think the potential's there. And a 3 to 4 year deal would have worked for both sides. I think a 4-year deal would have been good for the Sabres. They would have locked him down for 4 years, and they wouldn't have been handicapped by a long-term deal. 4 years to me is a pretty good deal. It's a medium-length deal, and I think that's what they should have done. He's had 3 straight 20-goal seasons, including a 25-goal season in the 2017-18 season. He had 3 straight 50-plus point seasons, including a 65-point season in the 2018-19 season. I'm not sure if he'll ever reach 70 plus points per season, but I do think 60 plus points per year is a pretty common norm for Reinhart in the future. He was second on the team for goals and points behind only Jack Eichel. You're going to be behind Jack Eichel in almost every offensive category, and was third on the team for assists behind Eichel and Dahlin. I think that he'll be third on the team for goals and points this season behind Jack Eichel and Taylor Hall. Fun fact, Reinhart's one of only 4 players in franchise history to rank top 3 in team scoring in each of their first 5 seasons. Also, out of the past 5 seasons, he's had 4 20-plus goal seasons. At the end of the day, it's good because Reinhart is able to stay with the Sabres, and even though it was a deal that he didn't want, it was best for the team. And now I'm just required to hype up the Sabres because I have an undying support for Jeff Skinner. I don't know why. It is something that I've done for years. He had that 40-plus goals, or he had that 40-goal season, and he's had some other crazy years where he'll have lows right after, or multiple years will have lows compared to those seasons. I'm going to hype him up. I'm not sure why I'm high on Jeff, but I'm going to keep doing it every year. Realistically, I think 20 to 25 goals for Jeff would be great and would help the Sabres out a lot. The additions of Hall and Stahl, again, they need to make a t-shirt about that, should help take off some of the offensive load for Skinner as well as take off the media pressure too. I think he'll be able to have a bounce-back year. I'm calling a 35-plus goal season, but really I think 20 to 25, but 35 goals would be cool. For 35 goals would be cool. I'd love to see it. And they actually just got Victor Olofsson to a 2-year deal, $6.1 million per year. And I thought they were going to sign him to a 1-year deal because it was a trend with Ullmark and Reinhart. I thought they were just trying to see with what they had to work with, but they signed him to a 2-year, $6.1 million deal. A little bit too rich for my taste. I think that maybe they see something I don't and think he's going to be more beneficial to the team in the future. I guess that I just wasn't expecting them to hand that out so quickly for a contract that rich. I thought it was $3.05 million for 2 years, but it's 6.1. So, Victor Olofsson, congratulations. You had a 20-goal season. Very happy for you. Congrats. I hope that you perform well enough to get a better contract next time. It's very rare that I want a player to perform poorly. I usually want them to play well so they can get a better contract, which leads us to Linus Ullmark. He has avoided arbitration with a 1-year, $2.6 million deal. And it seems more and more like the Sabres just want to see what this team will look like, basically for this year. Now, my worry for them is, let's say that Reinhart, Olofsson, well, not Olofsson because he's on a 2-year deal, but Ullmark and Reinhart have really good years. Now they have to pay them because they played really well, and I'm afraid they're going to have to pay them too much. I think this is why I would have got them on at least 2 to 3 year deals. Reinhart, 4-year. Olofsson, I think a 2-year deal was fair. Ullmark, probably a 2-year deal. I'm not a big fan of that, but I do think that hopefully for the Sabres, they're able to turn it around, make the playoffs. You know, looking at it now, they have Olofsson. These are all guys they've had, but, you know, Eichel, Olofsson, Reinhart, Dahlin, Hall, Stahl, and then they should have Ullmark in net, probably 50 games this season. I think the Sabres have made some moves to get better, and I think that they should be able to push for a playoff spot. If they're one of the worst teams in the league again this year, I don't know what to do. Rebuild? Question mark. Could the fans even take that? I don't know. But if they're one of the worst teams again, it doesn't help that they're in the Atlantic, but I do think that they should be able to at least be in the hunt for the playoffs. But if they don't make the playoffs, I think it's a disappointment signing Taylor Hall. Who knows? We'll see how it plays out. And the final topic for the podcast, Dallas has got new jerseys. They look like monster cans. They look like the beams from laser tag, or like the surroundings around laser tag when you're running around. I haven't done laser tag in years, but there's a laser tag place around here, so I'm probably going to try to do that. You know, who knows, whenever, but yes, I'm 20 years old, but I'll laser tag if I want to laser tag. There's a place around here where I drive golf carts around and mini putt-putt. It's cheap too. But I guess my thing is, even though it looks like a monster can, even though it's got these laser beam looks, it reminds me of something from the Matrix, I love it. The black is the primary. I think looks really good. The green looks like almost like it's got a light on it. And I'm in love with it still. I think that it is a great, almost Halloween type vibe. Bar Down Hockey talked about that a while back ago. Maybe 3 days ago. And I love it. I think that I have seen a lot of people talk about it in a way that it is negative, but I think it's about 50-50. I think it'll grow on people. I'm really excited to see what the goalies look like with these jerseys. I just think that goalies always look the best with the jerseys on compared to everybody else. Overall, I'm excited to see Sagan, Bin, Radulov, Heiskanen, everybody on the team wear these. It's a little different, but I think that different's cool. I don't think that it's a crazy design by any means. I think they could have done something else with it. But hey, at least they're doing something new. I've heard that the NHL is possibly doing retro jerseys, and I would love that. That's a rumor. I don't know if that's true, though. But I think that's going to wrap it up for the show today. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, stay away from COVID, and have a great week. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes, and hockey fans in general. This is your captain signing off. Have a great week.